Hey everybody, this is Marley K. Hope you all are well. I have a story for y'all today that I'm going to read from Quartz, and it is about OpenAI, the company that created ChatGPT, the artificial intelligence company that I told you about the other day. If you go through some of my other videos, well, I only did one and I did it this week, but it was about how they're unleashing this ChatGPT and how they have used, what we say in our emails, text, and other conversations, our blogs, and so on and so forth, to perfect this artificial intelligence. And now it's getting ready to be used in Word, Microsoft. I don't know if they purchased it, invested in it, or just bought it outright. I'm not sure how it works, but Google, a lot of different companies are getting ready to start using this technology this year. Well, come to find out that they've used Black people, Kenyans, to perfect this AI. And of course, they use their labor but underpaid them. So this is one of those stories, but it's also going to lead it to another story that we didn't know about. So I'm going to also talk about that because they're connected. But it just shows how these white techies rely on Black labor and brown labor to perfect their products. Then they either they underpay or dump them after they've used them up, and then they go off and sell these products for millions and billions of dollars to government contracts or whatever. It's like a big Ponzi scheme, basically. But in any event, this stuff is just wow. I'm going to file this story under Black labor, white wealth, because that's usually how this works. OpenAI underpaid 200 Kenyans to perfect ChatGPT, then sacked them. After the project of removing toxic content on ChatGPT was completed, Sama closed its Nairobi office, rendering all 200 content moderators jobless. Now, notice how also these are American companies, but they will go outsource this stuff into other countries instead of using Americans. And knowing that we're struggling, knowing that what they are trying to achieve to use on us, we would know it best, but they won't allow us African Americans to do it. They will go get Kenyans who don't experience the racism and don't know all the stuff that we know to perfect this. It's just mind-boggling the lengths that these people go through to undermine and use us. And so they're gonna come back after not using us and offer us this product and be like, hey, it's the best thing since sliced bread. We're gonna jump all over it, not knowing stories like these where they go outside of the country and hire people to do this. This is a job I could have done. I'm a writer, I'm a reviewer. I review words all day long for people all over the country and outside of the country to get money. So, it's just interesting how these opportunities come about and how we never get the opportunity to do anything because the goal of this country is to keep us at a bottom class. And there's an open agenda to exclude us at every level, unless it is to demoralize, dehumanize, and subjugate us. So I just find it just crazy. But this is why I'm all for opting out of this system, because it does not work for us. It does not respect us. And it just seems like in everybody is opposed to helping us get out of this hole. There's just an open agenda and everybody's silent about it. Even if you say you care, if you're a so-called ally, they still don't do anything to change or to make things better. So this is one of those situations where you see it happening and people are double-minded. They'll be like, oh, well, it's not a big thing. Yeah, they outsource the jobs. they could have used y'all to remove the toxic content, but they didn't, and so it's just disrespectful to me. But anywho, as San Francisco-based AI development firm OpenAI's dream of achieving general artificial intelligence picks up speed, reports of how it used underpaid Kenyans to remove racism, sexism, and violence from ChatGPT-3's language model are appalling. OpenAI didn't learn from Meta, which was sued by Nairobi last May by South African whistleblower Daniel Motong for union busting and contracting Sama, a company that subjected them to inhumane working conditions while removing harmful content from Facebook's algorithms. And so again, they remove these opportunities from inside of the United States where these companies are, outsource them to other countries where they know they can, pay these people low wages. They'll be abused. They don't care. That's the whole reason they outsource, because here you have to have some semblance of caring. You got to, put folks up in decent facilities and pay them decent wages. Well, they outsource a lot of this stuff. One, because they don't want to pay. Two, because they don't care about the people. And three, they make sure they outsource to countries where they know people are going to be mistreated. They don't go to Switzerland and treat the Swiss people this way. They don't ask the Swiss people to do this. Then they go find a Black people who don't experience racism like we do. A lot of these people think they're white. They don't like us, and they are all for the discrimination. So how is it that you can go and get people who dislike us to talk about, you know, especially when it comes to racism? If I can understand sexism and violence, but racism is, we all experience it, but I don't think anybody in the world experiences it like African Americans, because nobody likes us. I don't care what country you go to, people don't like us. We got people in the Caribbean that come here, there's just an open agenda to not like African American people. And it's just insane that these companies like a Facebook or OpenAI would leave this country and go try to get others who don't experience racism, the type of racism that we experience, to help with their projects. Like it's just a whole Ponzi scheme. I guess that's the best way to say it. Now, after OpenAI's GPT-3 project of perfecting the results the platform generates was completed last November, Sama retrenched 200 employees and closed the Nairobi office for good. In a blog post on January 10th, Sama said that it understood that this is a difficult day, but we believe it is the right long-term decision for our business. It asked sacked workers to apply for other open positions in Sama East African offices. So they knew they were going to close because, okay, I read about this Chat GPT, deal a few days ago, and then they announced that they're closing the office. So after they made their deal with Microsoft and all these other companies, they were assured or had signed contracts. They knew that their product was good enough to be sold or peddled, or good enough for other larger companies to invest in. So then they get rid of these people the same week. The people in Kenya don't know what's going on. They just working and thinking that, they are doing a job, but they're being exploited. Like everybody's being exploited for this next level of technology that's gonna, monitor us, do our work for us, and knock us out of jobs. Like this is the trend. And I don't understand why people continue to take these jobs and help boot yourself out of a job. So like these people helped perfected a product that was gonna put people out of work, and then they find themselves out of work. Like, we have got to be better about thinking about the future and how these types of things will impact us. Sama's content moderators earned as little as $1.32 per hour. And, you know, I don't know what that is to Kenyans, but I know here we can't live off $1.32. You can't even pay people $1.32 per hour, but they know this, which is why they outsource these types of jobs to Africa. This was after the company, also based in San Francisco, paid the workers between $1.32 and $2 per hour from November 2021 to February 2022, which is just a small fraction of California's minimum wage of $16.99 per hour, or less than a third of the federal state's minimum wage of $7.25 per hour. On January 20th, Sama wrote to court saying it pays almost double what other content creator firms in East Africa pay, and offers a full benefits and pension package, which it claims is uncommon. So you see how they try to say, oh, well, we pay more, double. So if you're paying double, that means the people are only making like, 60, 70 cents per hour, or $1 per hour if they're getting up to $2 per hour. Like, that's insane. And these people have money. That's the crazy part. They have money, they're wealthy, but they will use Black labor and outsource these jobs to perfect their products, and then come back and push them to us and charge us an arm and a leg for them. Or in this case, they may not even charge us anything, because if you use Word, it's going to be built into Word, or you're going to be able to use it with Word, but you have to pay for Word. It's not free anymore. So people are going to be making money hand over fist, but this is how you exploit the people who help bring you to the party. Sama pays between SH 26,000 and SH 40,000, between $210 and $323 per month, which is more than double the minimum wage in Kenya, and also well above the living wage. A comparative US wage would be between $30 and $45 per hour. It also said it offered them personal welfare services with rooms specifically designed for counseling, meditation, prayer, nursing, gaming, and local artwork, and full meal services that are curated to support physical and mental well-being. This is the future of the workforce. So I'm glad they put this in this article, because this is what I want everybody to get. Everybody getting, so many people are getting ready to lose their jobs and not be able to afford someplace to stay. Big companies like BlackRock and a lot of banks, I think JP Morgan Chase, I can't remember, I think it's JP Morgan, are spending $1 billion to just buy up empty properties. They're buying up houses and stuff and land in cities and developing them. They're throwing up these large apartment complexes everywhere, putting internet in them. You're going to be living in apartments and rooms because you're not going to be able to afford rent, because when this economy collapses, they're going to flip the switch, and we're going to be living like they live in these third world countries. They're going to give you a stipend. They're going to give, just enough to get your little hygiene products. They're going to take care of your light bill. They're going to take care of your rent. They're going to offer you these what they call fringe benefits, and pay you a little bit of money. So you're going to think in the beginning that you're living good and life is good, but then you're going to find you can't quit this job, because if you quit your job, you lose your house or your shelter, because it won't be your house or your apartment. You won't control any of it. You have to stay with the employer. You're going to lose your meals, and they'll make sure they feed you good. Or they might not. You might be eating Soylent Green, damn green sticks of whatever that stuff is, or people, fake cows and grass with Myrna in it. I don't know. But anyway, this is the model for the future, people. And that's one reason I brought you this story, because I want you to understand where things are going in this country, and you can't say you weren't warned. To build an ethical messaging query system through its 175 billion parameters, according to a time investigation, OpenAI had to rely on Meta, which had proven that it was possible to build AI that could filter out toxic connotations and biased information. But the work was traumatizing to employees who had to sit for several hours every day watching videos of harmful content and analyzing textual descriptions of hate speech, sexual violence, bestiality, and violence. That forced Sama to cancel all 3 contracts it signed with OpenAI in February 2022. So, Meta had people doing this here. And there was a whistleblower. I can't remember which news story. I saw it on the news, probably MSNBC. And the person was just talking about all the stuff that they had to view every day, all day long, and they weren't hardly getting any pay. It was like they needed hazard pay. And they talked about how stressful it was. And there was no therapy, no nothing for them. They just supposed to do this and go home and, not debrief about what they had read or seen all day. And that is really traumatic. I used to work in sexual violence a long time ago, another life. And some of those cases would be so traumatic. Like I would have to talk to a counselor, or sometimes I would just have to call somebody and talk on my way home because you just needed to talk it out or cry or whatever, because that is very traumatic. Like you can't listen to that day by day after day after day. Our bodies, minds, and spirits are not meant for that. We're not meant to deal with that much evil every day. And so that's one of the downsides of this technology, is like they can't control what is in people. The other thing is this technology brings those things out of people. So when you are working, especially if you are, a Kenyan, and you might be Christian or just a good person and trying to work and do your job, but this is your job. Like, I just don't know how people do that. But these people who create these technologies, they know what they're doing. They don't care. Now as OpenAI projects to rake in $1 billion in revenue by 2024. Now, here's the rub for me. They paid those people a little bit of money, but they know that they're going to make $1 billion. So they would rather cheat people on the back end, on the front end, make all the revenue and smile all the way to the bank on the back end. And then these people are exploited. Now they're mentally damaged and traumatized from all the trash that they wrote for this technology we don't even need, because nobody needs this shit. I don't need open AI Chat GPT. I want to talk to a real person. Let me talk to Sam on the phone. I need to talk to Karen and ask her why my telephone is not working. When is she going to turn my water back on? Where's my order, Barbara? I just don't understand. But, at the end of the day, technology is all about exploitation and gradually moving unassuming people into a slavery, global enslavement. And this is one of those stories where you can see it happening. Now, as OpenAI projects to rake in $1 billion in revenue by 2024, sells shares that would raise its valuation to $29 billion, attract a $10 billion investment from Microsoft, which is the computer guy who knows everything's company, and ultimately launch GPT-4, it will have to reconsider how it outsources content moderation services. So they're not going to do anything to, they're still talking about outsourcing, which means they have no intention of hiring American workers, which is a sign for American people. We can read and find bestiality, racism, so on and so forth in this material that they want people to look at, but they don't want to pay us. So they would rather outsource it. I mean, it just goes to show you that colonization is still alive and well. Slavery is still alive and well. But judgment is coming to the land, and y'all best believe that these people are going to pay for how they have mistreated us. And you know, as far as the people need to wake up. This is the future. You know, we think just because they go outside of the country and hire these people, we're okay. We're not okay. This is coming to America. This is going to be our future too. So I'm going to go over to this other story, and I'll put both of these stories in the description about Meta. This one is about Meta. Meta got sued in Nairobi over labor busting, exploitation, and union busting. So this is a story also on Quartz, and it was from last May. And nobody really talked about it because, again, it doesn't really have anything to do with the American workforce, but it is important because so many people use Meta products, which is Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, so on and so forth. Social media giant and its Nairobi-based content review subcontractor, Sama, will have to defend themselves in court over claims of inhumane working conditions after a lawsuit was filed against them in the Kenyan capital on May 10th. The suit by South African content moderator Daniel Motong through Nzili and Sumbi advocates claims that Sama fired him shortly after he tried to form an employee union in 2019 after a few months after he was hired. Motong is seeking compensation on behalf of current and former content moderators while asking the court to compel the two companies to stop thwarting their efforts to form an employee union. So this is why they closed, because nobody, you know, they go out to these countries and hire these people, and these people are all excited that the white man is coming to bring jobs and save them. Then they go inside those chambers and find out they are on a plantation. And then they want to unionize and fight back. And what they do, they close the company down, or they fire the people who are trying to rebel, or disappear them. But this is going to be a constant theme going forward because these people don't want to pay. They want to use your labor, but they don't want to pay you. They don't want to pay you fair wages. If they can avoid paying you at all, they will. And that last story reminds me a lot of how sharecropping used to work. So it's modern sharecropping is what it is. And the person who owns the company, excuse me, pretends they don't understand what they're doing, but they know. And they try to justify it by, oh, it's double what the minimum wage is for the country. But you know, if you were in America, that wouldn't fly and you'd have to pay more. Like, not even decent, just slavery. Just every corporation is like that. So if you can, try not to consume stuff like this. That's my thing. I won't use it. I ain't upgrading nothing. I ain't buying nothing else. When when it's time to flip the switch, I'm throwing all my stuff in the garbage. I'll be a hunter and gatherer. I'm good on this system because I see where it's going. Motong is seeking compensation. Motong is seeking compensation on behalf of current and former content moderators while asking the court to compel the two companies to stop thwarting their efforts to form an employee union. He is also asking for companies to provide mental health support for content moderators for spending thousands of hours watching graphic video clips, including rape, murder, and child abuse for negligible pay. If your company can create something that omits all this stuff, then you probably don't need that company. Meta's content moderators view and remove illegal or banned content before users see it. The application also questions Sama's deceptive techniques in its recruitment process, saying the firm advertised for roles such as call center agents, and content moderators without disclosing the actual job descriptions to candidates. The varying descriptions for the position of a content moderator are deceptive and designed to trick unsuspecting applicants into unknowingly becoming Facebook content moderators, the application by the law firm reads. And so that is really suspicious and devastating, because a lot of these people have probably religious beliefs where they're not supposed to be even looking at this stuff, because it will cause you to sin. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It gets into your body, it gets into your spirit. And then, you know, if you are a broken vessel, you invite that spirit, those evil spirits into you. And then you start going out and thinking about this stuff, and then you want to try it. So this stuff should not even be viewed. Like, we just don't need this type of technology. If you can't moderate it, if it requires us to be to view it and come in contact with something so evil, we shouldn't have it. But instead, they're trying to figure out ways to do it without harming us, and they're still harming us on the front end and on the back end. It claimed that Meta and Sama have intentionally created a toxic environment at their Nairobi office, designed to keep the moderators from airing their grievances while using Meta software to track productivity of Sama's employees. So I'm gonna just put this story in here, but I just wanted to show also how when Meta was using the same company, they didn't pay people either. It says the new minimum salary of $439 per month after tax, or around $2.20 per pound for a 9-hour work day, which was up from around $1.50 per hour, still remains way below the industry's global salary standards. So they go there with the intent of exploiting Kenyans and circumventing this system that we have here so that they can make money on the front end and on the back end. Everything about these companies is slavery. Now, again, they didn't try to go to Switzerland. They didn't go to Europe. They didn't go any place that would not allow them to exploit people. They'll go to, you know, second world and third world countries. And I'm not saying that Kenya is a third world country, but they'll go where there are millions of poor people who are desperate for work. And because they understand they've colonized and raped the Black and brown countries, and they control the government, so they can come in and do this type of thing. And we won't know anything about it because we typically don't pay attention to these types of stories. But you know, this first piece here says, in March last year, Democratic Representative Tom O'Halloran asked about what the company has done to increase reviewer capacity. Meta chief executive Mark Zuckerberg said that for certain types of content, such as hate speech and terrorism, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp rely 95 through 98% on AI for content moderation. So that means if they rely on AI, they don't even use humans. They have people like these Kenyans perfect this stuff, and then they use it and rely on the AI to capture it. This would also explain why so many African Americans are shadow banned and have their accounts flagged, because you have people from outside of the country who don't speak the language, who don't know the subtle nuances of what people are saying, filtering out stuff and making decisions that causes the AI to flag us or shadow ban us or put us in jail, the Facebook jail or Twitter jail or whatever. So like we are always going to be at a disadvantage because these tech companies don't use Americans or don't use people from the various cultures where they produce, where they allow their products to be used to assist in the content moderation, because they want to be cheap and not pay people. So we're always going to be screwed up when it comes to this content moderation and um, having our words misconstrued or being policed, because people outside of the country try to police what we say, which is why we have to talk in code. And it's very frustrating, but I mean, it is what it is. This is what happens when you're a hostage in a domestic violence situation, when you're still held by people who don't do anything but subjugate, dominate, and figure out ways how to exterminate. So at the end of the day, AI is getting ready to be rolled out in full force. We can expect more censorship, and you can look forward to this future where these companies are going to pay us a little bit of money. They're going to buy up and throw up these apartment buildings in different places. You're going to have a room you might have to share with other people. If you're a family, they might give you an apartment. And you know, your future is going to be, you're going to go to work and you're going to be living like sharecroppers. You don't have any money. All your expenses going to be taken care of. You're going to be trading your services for a roof over your head, food at work, maybe a little stipend, and then probably, you know, whatever you need, you're going to end up buying from the store that's owned by the corporation. And then you don't get to spend your money. They get all their money back. All and everything that you buy from them is going to be overpriced, overvalued, and they're going to pay you a little bit of money, or they may pay you decent, but because the price of everything is going to be so expensive, you're going to walk away with very little money. You're not going to be able to save anything, and you're going to be stuck in that situation for the duration, until you pass away, until you know you can find another situation similar to the one that you have that pays a little better, but you're going to always be in bondage. So I just wanted to show you how this thing is going, why these stories are important. You need to pay attention to what's going on in all areas of your life, whether it's law, economics, technology, finance. Like everything is being impacted right now. And again, this ties into the Chat GPT story that I brought you the other day. If you did not see that story, please go find it in the videos. I released it this week, because all of it ties into our future and the future of your children and your grandchildren. So you need to know what is going on, because these things are happening fast. It's happening so fast that it's making my head spin, but I'm trying to stay on top of it so that I can bring it to you and give you how it is going to impact us in a real world way. I don't know when it's going to happen, but this is the future. That's all I know. So that's all I got. Leave your comments below. Thank you for watching. Please like the video, share it with family and friends, people you care about, to let them know what's going on, and subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. I'm out.